Morning, Leslie and Kamani and Kamari. I'm going to share with you the next lesson in Amplify, the next poem that we're going to read in the Poetry Journal. This is what we'll be looking at today. I'm going to split this into a couple of videos. So I tried to do this last night, but for some reason it wouldn't upload because it was too long. So I'm splitting it into two videos. So let's take a look at this poem first of all. This is called I Hear America Singing. It's by a famous poet named Walt Whitman. Let me read about Walt Whitman here for you first. Walt Whitman. Born on May 31st, 1819 on Long Island, New York, Walt Whitman worked as a teacher and a journalist before becoming a poet. His poetry related to people of all backgrounds and made him one of America's most well-known and beloved writers. During Whitman's time, the United States of America was divided by slavery, which threatened to split the country in two. The Civil War inspired him to write Drum Taps, poetry about the war and his experiences as a battlefield nurse. His writing was powerful. Even President Lincoln admired him. In fact, one of his poems, "O Captain, My Captain," is a patriotic tribute to President Lincoln. Whitman also wrote poems about nature. Whitman died in 1892. However, his poetry and free verse style, along with his conversational tone, remain appreciated and admired. Okay, so that's Walt Whitman. And listen to this poem carefully. He talks about lots of different people singing. But I want to think, are they literally singing or is he using figurative language? Okay, so here we go. This is called I Hear America Singing by Walt Whitman. I hear America singing, the varied carols I hear, those of mechanics, each one singing his as it should be blithe and strong. The carpenter singing his as he measures his plank or beam, the mason singing his as he makes ready for work or leaves off work, the boatman singing what belongs to him in his boat, the deckhand singing on the steamboat deck, the shoemaker singing as he sits on his bench, the hatter singing as he stands, the woodcutter's song, the plowboy's on his way in the morning, or at noon, intermission, or at sundown, the delicious singing of the mother, or of the young wife at work, or of the girl sewing or washing, each singing what belongs to him or her and to none else, the day what belongs to the day, at night the party of young fellows, robust, friendly, singing with open mouths their strong melodious songs. Okay, well, hopefully you have your books open. We are on page 76, lesson 7.2. If you don't have your book with you, why don't you pause the video for a second while you go get your book. Okay. Understanding metaphor. Let's read about this really quick. Up to now, the poems in this unit have used figurative language in clear ways. For example, Sherman Alexie's poem compares basketball to war by saying directly, "For us, it was war." However, poets do not always make their comparisons so directly. As readers, one of the things we must figure out is whether or not Whitman is referring to literal songs that people would sing out loud, if he is using the idea of singing as a metaphor, or if he's doing both. So, is he actually talking in his poem about people actually singing at these jobs, or is it a metaphor, like figurative language? Or is it a mix of both? So let's look at these questions. I'm going to read them to you. At the end of the poem, Whitman writes, each singing what belongs to him or her and to none else. Using your own words, explain what Whitman means here. And then the second question, Whitman makes sure to explain that the singers are all doing some kind of work. Here he is probably not saying that everyone is singing at their jobs. Instead, he seems to compare work to singing. Write down ways that each of the following kinds of work might be like singing. So how might shoemaking be like singing? And how might plowing a field, which is what a farmer does, how might that be like singing? Think about that. Look at question 3 here. Think of a carpenter who is building a piece of wooden furniture. What kind of noises might his tools make? Carpenter, works with wood. He might be hammering, sawing, using sandpaper. Think of those sounds. How might someone consider the noises made by a carpenter's tools to be a kind of music? Give a reason for your answer. So think about, all that hammering, sawing, and other things. How might that be? How could someone compare that to some music? And then based on the way Whitman compares the work in songs, what do you think he would consider the most important trait about America? Give a reason from the poem to support your answer. Okay, go ahead and think about these questions, all right? And this will be the end of this video. Go ahead and think about your answers to these questions and write them down. And then we'll come back and do the second part of this lesson on the second video, okay?